Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and I'm sitting across in person from Caleb Garrett. Hey, Caleb.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. And I will jump right into why you are here. Like most people on this podcast, you are an alumni of one of the film festivals I run. Your film, Lonesome Town, why'd I take off my glasses? Was in Filmvasion Los Angeles in 2025. And your film took home the Grand Jury Award for Best Short Film Experimental Arthouse. And then the Filmmakers Awards, you got 3 of them. And actually, they all have your name after them. It's funny. It's often the Filmmakers Awards, that's the jury of your peers, right? The Filmmakers Board is alumni. So it's actual active filmmakers choosing those awards. Whereas honestly, that Grand Jury Award that sounds so fancy, that's like the selection committee. We're like a bunch of bitter old farts. So I feel like the Filmmakers Awards mean a lot. And you got Outstanding Director for Experimental Arthouse, Outstanding Writing for Experimental Arthouse, and Outstanding Cinematography, because you were actually your own cinematographer, I believe.
Right, yes, yep.
So there you go, Lonesome Town. 4 awards at Filmvasion LA this last summer. And so congrats on the great film.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me there. It was incredible. It was such a great festival. One of my favorite I've definitely been to in LA for sure.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Yeah. And I assume you're still on the festival circuit and people can't watch it yet?
Yes, still on the festival circuit, but I do just make it available to anybody who asks. I remember like 8 years ago, it used to be a lot more strict where it was, please don't have this link live anywhere. But in the festivals I've submitted to, I haven't seen anything like that. So I've kept it live basically since Film Invasion. That was kind of the one where I was like, I'll just make it live because so many people are asking for it. So.
Oh, right. So it's not password protected anymore on Vimeo or something like that?
No.
Is that what you mean by live?
Yeah, or it's unlisted. So I just provide the link.
Right. So it's unlisted. Yeah, so you're not. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not
fine.
Open to the public.
Totally.
They can't find it if they search for Lonesome Town.
Right.
They won't get it.
Yeah.
So that's good.
You got to come through me.
Exactly. You're the free paywall.
Right. The arbiter of the link.
You are the arbiter of an excellent film. And when you feel like releasing it, excellent. Just if you ever remember, you can always fire off an email to us, to me or Karina, and we will update the show notes to have a link to it.
Okay, great.
Because believe me, people, you should see Lonesome Town. It kicks ass. In fact, okay, I'll jump into the story right now, which is this last festival was our first on 3 screens at once, which meant we needed even more Q&A moderators. First 8 years of Filmvasion LA and Sherman Oaks Film Festival, I did every Q&A myself because we were on 1 screen.
Right.
And that's like the thing I enjoy most. And then we went to 2 screens, and it was tough finding. We had some issues finding, and then so I'm like, okay, we're gonna have a really good process to get other moderators, because at this point we needed 2 more moderators over the course of on 3 screens for the equivalent of 9 days. So I was doing these interviews with people, and I gave them a choice. I wrote you an email and said, hey, can we use your film Lonesome Town as for mock Q&As that we're doing? And you kindly said yes. And then I would give people a list of 3 shorts that were all 5 minutes or less, and then we would hop on Zoom and we'd watch it together on Zoom. I would share my screen, and then I would pretend to be the filmmaker, and they would interview me as if they were moderating a Q&A, and the other people and there were other potential moderators who were pretending to be audience asking questions. So we had excellent moderators, right?
Yeah. No, they were great.
I bet you had a good one? Yeah.
Yes, he was awesome. He very felt very personal to the film. Didn't feel like he was just asking, just rattling up questions. Which was nice.
Yeah, I bet whomever it was, I'm sure they watched it a couple times and whatnot. So, and most of the people doing this interview chose Lonesome Town. They're like, I want to do that Lonesome. They would watch all 3 choices, and they're like, I want to do Lonesome Town. So I pretended to be you a bunch of times. and I kept, they go, and what inspired you to make this? So I just started pulling shit out of my ass, and cursing awesome. Is allowed on this podcast.
Okay, that's awesome.
But I was just I think sometimes I would even change my answer to be so your film holds all films in our festivals do hold a spot in my heart, because we're very selective, and we get I think for the festival you were in, we had over 700 submissions, and we only showed 62 films, I think.
Yeah, and they were really cream of the crop. Like the ones that I sat in for their actual like screenings, like incredible. It felt really premium, like compared to not to disparage any other festivals here in Los Angeles, but compared to a lot of other ones I've been to.
You know, other festivals are run by much smarter people who will show a bad film they know they'll get a good turnout for.
Also, I think a lot of them are just, I don't know how to put it, but they almost seem like cash grabs, not to disparage anybody, but where there's been some festivals where it's like, we'll get there and the film starts screening, and then the guy comes up, he's like, if your film is not here, we're just going to skip it. And we're like, oh man, that's just a bad thing to hear, which is like, I understand you want to have people there in person, but to just like, otherwise, like if someone's late, like they can't help that. So if you just skip past their film, I've been to some not so savory ones.
I have heard the term cash grab with quite a few.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, someone will call us that. And I'm like, are you kidding? We grabbed a documentary from Europe.
I really wouldn't say that.
That we didn't expect anyone to attend. You know what I mean? Like although I admit, I do have a fun term I use internally called idealism rewarded. Because like there was this, I don't know if you got to see, one of the last films in the festival you were in was called Love Song from Hiroshima.
Oh yes, that was the one from Japan.
It was from Japan,
yes.
And I saw it. And I cried for about 10 minutes. I cried all the way through the credits. And I was like, there's like a joke on the jury. If Jeff cries, he's going to fight to get it in the festival. But it's not totally true, but it's a little true.
Yeah.
But everyone else loved it too. And I'm like, you know what? That's one of the best features I've seen in such a long time. And we all just agreed we'd have to show it. And we were aware that like we might just have to put it into the theater with the fewest seats and just let her. But then it turns out one of the actors was LA based.
Yes, I got to talk to him.
Oh yeah, he was so nice.
He was so incredible.
He
and
came
so generous.
Out, great guy, and our idealism got rewarded. All of a sudden, I think they sold about 15, 20 tickets.
Yeah,
and we were just expecting to take a loss on that one, but we were like, but this film has to, and we got to do the North American premiere of that film.
Wow,
and it had already been released theatrically in Japan.
Wow.
Like, isn't that interesting? Like, they're in theaters in Japan. They've got a commercial release in Japan, and they haven't found a festival to play them yet in North America. I was just so proud of that because it really is a wonderful film.
And I feel like if there's a city that's going to appreciate it, hopefully it's LA. Like after I was lucky enough to have traveled recently to Japan, like there is such a similar culture, I guess, in terms of the city life. Like, I feel like they appreciate a lot of at least what we make here in the U.S. And I think in turn we appreciate a lot of like Japanese culture and media.
I think so. I know. No, I was rattling my brain when I was sure that it was going to be an empty house. I was like, God, I wonder if there's like a Japanese, if there was some kind of organization. I'm like, I bet you could sell thousands of tickets to that film if the community knew
that it was here.
That it was here and it's special and it's already in theaters in Japan and like, because I didn't even know that when that was the first. I learned something new because of that film.
Right.
Here I am, like we're supposed to talk about you and your film.
No, I love this.
Okay, excellent. So DCPs can like, when they're theatrical releases, they send them to all these theaters and they send them a special key, like a digital key to unlock the DCP.
Wow.
That was our first commercial DCP that was locked.
Wow.
And we needed. And so we got special, so the distributor had to adjust the key to Look Cinemas in Glendale's theater, and we had to know which projector it was on, so that projector would be unlocked.
Wow.
It was pretty
crazy.
And it worked.
That is so cool. That does sound like high security, kind of like almost like I don't know, levels of cybersecurity that I wouldn't expect for a movie, but
it's the same system they use to protect Mission Impossible and Marvel, right? Like I was just kind of I'm like, God, I don't even know if this will work. Can't you guys just send us another copy that's not locked?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? No one's gonna pirate your film that's associated with us, but it worked. It was, and I was proud of it, and excellent. and hopefully everyone will get to see it someday.
No, I know. I would love to see like an LA screening. I unfortunately missed it, but I would, after talking to the actor and some of his friends, I think, who he had made during the festival. Yeah, no brainer. I think that's definitely a must see. But yeah, he was very nice. He was very, very nice. And he went to a lot of other screenings too. So it was cool seeing him kind of show up for other people.
Yeah. Did he get to see Lonesome Town?
I don't know, actually.
Maybe
I'm not sure, but
yes.
he definitely, I saw him at some of the other screenings. Like I went to the horror one and I saw him there. And that was maybe my favorite screening.
Which
the
the feature?
No, it was the short horrors. Oh my gosh.
Because we had horror spattered throughout, but maybe there was like a horror program.
Oh my gosh, why am I? Oh, the film was great. It was one of my favorite films of the festival. It was more of a thriller, kind of just gut wrenching film, but about a priest who has to confront her mentor. Lorica?
Lorica, yes.
Yeah, Lorica. That was incredible. That was maybe my favorite film at the festival.
Oh, excellent. That was going up against there was a couple against the Love Song.
Yeah.
Oh man, you missed two. But like it's 3 screens at once. Oh, I'm glad you loved that.
That was great. And I got to talk to him afterwards, and he was so informative about. He had done all his research. Like you see a film like that, you're like, how much of this is I don't know, just intuition or speculation. No, he was well researched on that topic, and I think that really came through when he saw the film.
No, that film totally got me because I'm very much a non-believer,
right?
And so if you can pull me in to a story where like reading the Bible affects me, like the climax of the film, she's reading a biblical passage. And my heart is like going, oh my God. And I'm like, if you can do this to me, I knew the rest of the jury was going to love it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I am a cynical mofo.
Yeah, no, I'm not much a believer myself either, but it was like bringing you into also, which is crazy for a short, bringing you in so quickly into a world that like, if you're not already Catholic, if you're not already familiar with that, like they really did a good job of like giving you a running head start of like, hey, this is kind of like the baseline of what you should know just through character interaction. Like a character holding another character accountable gives you the parameters of, okay, this is what they consider right and wrong in their world. So yeah, loved that film. That was one of my favorites.
Excellent. I'm so glad. Yeah, but thank you for the compliments about the festival. I am always, I do walk around every festival, especially at the gala going, there are no bad films. You literally cannot go wrong. And I always appreciate too, like, well, you're a horror fan.
Yeah.
But I always love when like people are like, I'm normally not a horror person, but I love that film.
Yeah.
Because like we pick, because really good films, like they totally communicate beyond their genre.
100%. And I feel like there is a stigma with horror in that people are expecting something schlocky or something pulpy, and like a film like that, Lorica specifically, the horror is so real. It's so tangible where it's like, it scared me more than some of the other shorts in that same block that were, more paranormal, more sadistic. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is probably the most horrifying one in the lineup. And it's like, cause this could really happen.
I bet they called it drama even, but yeah, I know it is very cool what's happened with that genre that you have, all these slow burning creep outs and, oh my God. Tomorrow we're announcing the lineup for Sherman Oaks Film Festival in December. And there's a horror film in there that is insanely good. Like truly horrifying.
Oh, I'm excited.
Oh my God, it's good. I really hope the folks who made it can travel because I want to. Oh,
is it from another country?
No, but it's from outside. I think it's Midwest or back east.
Okay, wow.
I forget.
Very cool.
But it's like it's so good that sometimes we were up in Canada visiting my best friend, and they were like, "Show us the best film that." And my wife's like, show them that one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're not horror people. She's like, well, it's better. And they're like, they were like, oh my God, we can't watch this. It was like that intense.
Right.
All right. So you love cinema. That's excellent. You love movies.
I do.
All right.
I love movies.
And you make them.
I do try and make them as often as I can.
Right. So let's jump into you.
Sure.
And how old were you when you got the did the creative spark just come early?
Yeah, I think I was lucky in that way, where I grew up, born here in Southern California. When I was young, we moved up to Northern California and lived in a very small mountain town. I think population like 1,800 people. And there wasn't a whole lot to do up there beyond just play in our backyard that went just straight up into the woods. It was a hill and it just went right up into the woods. And I loved movies. My mom is a big movie fan. She has she just, from the time I was a kid, always scrolling IMDb, like, oh, I know that actor from that movie. Oh my gosh, this director also did that movie. Just connecting dots for me. I think that is maybe where it started. And then when I was 10, on my birthday, I saved up all my money and I bought a little digital camera to film movies on. And I have 2 younger brothers and an older sister. And so as 10, 11-year-old, that was my cast and crew, in the mountains. And so I just made stuff for I remember I was like, I want to be a YouTuber when I was younger. And so made stuff, posted it on YouTube. And it was all just, stuff that I showed to my family and our friends. And I think it wasn't until we moved back here that I really started considering, okay, this could be a full-fledged career. And again, I think I was just very lucky in moving from a town that had, 1,800 people, no support whatsoever for the arts, really, to moving to Orange County, which is a nice area. And the public school I went to, or the public kind of school district I went to, had a very good digital arts program kind of that went from middle school all the way to high school. And so, starting in middle school, started to get familiar with more of the, when you're 10, you're not really thinking wide shot, medium, close-up cover. You're not thinking anything like that. You're just shooting whatever. And in middle school, learning coverage and how to shoot coverage and the basics of lighting and the basics of editing. And then moving into high school, I was lucky enough that I had really made a connection with a group of people who were all my age and all wanted to do different jobs in film. So we entered high school together. We started making films together and started going to festivals probably when I was a freshman in high school. And so shout out to one of my best friends in the world, Kyle Reed, fantastic editor. And then a group of our other friends who all did different roles. And we started making movies together just whenever we could with whatever we could. And our very generous teacher saw that and really pushed us. And he was not a filmmaker. He was a social science teacher who ran a film class, but he had an appreciation for film. And more than that, and something that was very beneficial, I think, to all the young people in that class was he was a big advocate financially. He wrote so many grants, established a Digital Media Arts Academy at our school so that the state funded a lot of our stuff. And so we were, by the time I was, freshman going into sophomore year, we were shooting on very expensive cameras and nice PL glass, and we're just very lucky in that way. So he really was an advocate from a young age at a public school.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And in a way, he was doing the producer's job.
100%.
Like creating the business structure that allows, and he fostered so much creativity.
100%.
And when you talk about festivals, like there's like, is it Nifty is like a fantastic festival for student films?
Yes, I've been there before. Love Nifty. Shout out to Nifty.
Yeah, no, awesome. every young, actually one of our local middle schools, which is now Louis Armstrong Middle School in Sherman Oaks. It was previously called Milliken Middle School, and then everyone found out the Milliken guy was like horribly racist while he was alive. Ooh. And so they renamed it Louis Armstrong, which is great. But they had a a program actually, a film program it takes one teacher, right?
Yeah.
One special teacher.
Yep.
And so we would do a block of those kids' films.
Yeah, and it's I mean, just that, I think at a young age, going to a festival and seeing people react to your movie can, I think at such a pivotal point in your life, make you choose the path of like, okay, I want to do this as a job. Because, I mean, you enter that, when you're in high school, you enter those classes with, 30 other people. And at the end of high school, how many people are left, and how many even after that choose to do it in college or as a career. And I think we had such a high hit rate because that teacher, Mr. Switzer at El Dorado High School, was such an advocate. He really saw that there was a few people who really wanted to make movies and wanted the tools and knowledge, and connected us with the resources to do so. And just very, very lucky, I think, all through my youth. And I think it was 2015 when I decided specifically that I wanted to pursue cinematography as kind of a focus. And so then all throughout high school and then post high school, just shooting.
Right, because you said that you had a group of friends where everyone wanted a different role.
Right.
So your role, you actually leaned towards cinematographer.
Right.
You were like the DP, so you weren't the writer-director then.
No. And I still, to this day, wouldn't really consider myself a writer-director. I'm definitely more of a cinematographer, and that is what has kept me afloat, financially all these years. And it's something I love doing. But no, I love taking the opportunity, like on a film like Lonesome Town and some other projects, to direct, especially when we're hitting, periods in the industry where things are slow, and, maybe you aren't getting as many calls. I've always found that, putting a little money aside for a rainy day and then pulling it out when you want to just make something to stretch your creative muscles has always been something I've tried to do when things are slow. So, so did it.
So was Lonesome Town? Well, were there shorts before Lonesome Town during Slow Times?
Yeah, definitely. I've done a handful of shorts that I've directed. And some that Nifty is an interesting thing because a couple of them premiered there, and that was a great festival. One that very much reminds me of Film Invasion LA, very similar, I think, in structure and just the prestige, I think, of how the festivals run. But yeah, I had a documentary that I made back in 2016, 2017 with my now fiance.
Right, but after school or
this was
or during?
This was maybe my senior year of high school.
Yeah, because actually we haven't even gotten to college. I shouldn't have brought up Lonesome Town.
No. I just was making a bunch of movies back then, but this one sticks in my head because it was pretty much the one film that I made with Ashley, and it was about a family member of hers who was a steward of nature, who owned a avocado farm in La Habra Heights, and his battle with Parkinson's. And so it was this documentary kind of getting into the farming business, how he got into all that, ended up playing NFT. That was another thing that our whole friend group went and just kind of pushed us, I think, even further. And then, later, into trying to pursue it post high school, trying to, after graduation, figure out what to do with film.
Yeah, well, so the awesome mentor was middle school, right?
He was
middle school, but was that program continued into high school?
Yeah, so he was more high school centric. We did have another great teacher, Mr. Young, in middle school who.
Oh, so he was a high school teacher. He started with 9th grade.
Yeah, Mr. Switzer was our high school teacher. He still works there. I go back every once in a while to talk to the kids about, what is it like doing it, after you graduate? How do you survive? How do you do that? So, we're still very close. Chat with him as often as I can. And,
but because he wasn't, did he talk about film schools for
yes,
sure.
He was very much, I think he really, it was our class, I think the year ahead of me and the year behind me, including the year I was in, just a big influx of filmmakers who in that class there hadn't really been that before. So he wanted to see a lot of us go into film school and pursue it postgraduate. And so he was definitely like, I remember getting on us senior year, like, hey, get those applications in. Like, let me know when you need a letter of rec. I'm your guy. And so I applied to a handful of schools. I really thought, I'm just going to apply to the best schools in the country. Looked at the top 10.
Why not?
I'm just applying to these. Didn't end up getting into any of them, which was fine. I feel like it was a wake-up call of like, ooh, I definitely have things I need to work on or things I need to pursue. And so I ended up going to Saddleback University or Saddleback College, which is a community college, which again, I think being very lucky, had a very established for a community college. I think a lot of the times community colleges and 2-year schools like that are not well funded, and they're not. They don't really have a strong identity for a film program. But that school did, and I was very lucky to go right into that and started working with other filmmakers my age from a bigger pool of people, and did that for I think about a year.
I'm actually curious.
Yeah.
Did you shop around the community colleges for one that had a good cinema thing?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Because Saddleback, I actually knew someone who like grew up in, I'm forgetting the
Mission
community.
Viejo, Aliso Viejo,
somewhere
yeah.
around there. Yeah.
Yeah,
And he had gone. He was just a surfer who went there.
Yeah.
But so you shopped around and you found a program you wanted. You just didn't choose the closest one to your folks' house.
100%. And there was times driving in the morning where I wish I had picked the closer one. I think Fullerton was our closest school, but I had known a couple kids who had gone to Saddleback who were older than me and recommended it. And I went through and was very taken away by how well equipped they were for a community college. And they were very structured, very, I wouldn't say military-esque, but it was like they treated it, those first, like that film one class, like a boot camp. Like you were there to learn how to, set up a C-stand and put a sandbag on and all this stuff. And to Saddleback's credit, I would say in that area, they have such a high hit rate of gaffers and mainly G&E crew that go on to work huge shows. And I've been lucky enough to kind of grow up with some of those guys and work with those guys on a bunch of projects. And they are so next level. They just have that fire in them that has kept them going, at least I know for the last 8 years or so. So went to community college, did that for a year. And then I got... Again, I feel like I don't mean to overstate this, but I think in my life I've just been very lucky. I've stumbled into things that have kept me going on this path where, otherwise maybe I would have picked something else or would have pursued something else. And I was lucky enough that I got a job maybe a year into community college as an in-house cinematographer for an ad agency in Pasadena. And so then I kind of...
It's huge.
Yeah, so I stopped.
It's huge. Well, wait, but you're laughing, but you had to apply for this job. And
Right.
like you earned this job.
Right.
And you had the goods.
Right. And I think that was the benefit of coming from a high school program that had such a focus on making sure you produced quality films. And it was because, I had
you had a cinematographer's reel that the average person your age couldn't come close to.
Totally. And it was like, that is beyond like, how do you even describe how grateful you could be for something like that? Because then, I met with the guy who ran that company and who kind of EP'd everything for that. And he took me on, I think when I was 19. And so I started shooting, advertisements and commercials for a plethora of companies. We did everything from like brick and mortar stuff, like stuff that's local to the area. We did some ads for Monrovia nurseries. We did little branded docs for them, and a bunch of other companies. We did stuff for government agencies. We did travel shoots and travel documentaries for Habitat for Humanity and for No Kid Hungry. So it was like getting another kind of more documentaries focused, I would say, but getting kind of another film school, or another chapter, I think, in my film school, of just going out and doing it. And okay, this is a doc. You have to, we did some stuff out in Riverside where it's a substance, an addiction center where they're treating these people. And it's like, hey, like, we can't really get another interview. Like, you have to be like set up. You got to be ready to go and, get these tender and vulnerable moments, and as a 19, 20, 21-year-old, like, that is something that is not understated. I think coming to that level of maturity of sitting behind the camera and working with a director to try and convey emotionally how someone is feeling after the loss of somebody or something that's so emotionally charged, I think equipped me in a way where, in coming on to more narrative projects, approaching actors in a similar way. So grateful for that, did that job for a number of years. And then, as I think with a lot of filmmakers, when 2020 happened, a lot of things changed.
Right, so at least you got in like two plus years before lockdown.
Yeah. I think I was there for almost 2.5 years before lockdown. And I assume
that brought you up to live in the area.
Totally, yeah. And that was, and to their credit, they even tried after COVID hit to try and bring us on for projects, but it really just slowed down. And I think for an ad agency of that size, it was, they were on life support, I think, then for another 2 years after, where it was just, couldn't bring as big a crews ended up kind of being in a weird position that I think a lot of filmmakers ended up in, where it's, how do you make films from home, and where does that take you career-wise? And as someone who had a lot of experience in commercials and stuff, I was scrambling for a job, March, April, May 2020, and I landed at a mortgage company, which was, weird enough.
Right, at that point, you're keeping a roof over your head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. At that point, I was just trying to, make enough money to support myself. And that was probably like the least creative time in my life. Like, it was just, we were locked down. You couldn't really see people. And then also, that job isn't, it's not, I loved both those workplaces, but they weren't so creative. It was just, making videos for mortgage companies.
So it's still video oriented.
Yes. I was a video producer for them, and I was just shooting, video updates for the teams of, hey, this is what the market rates are at. This is, where jumbo loans are.
Oh, so it was for internal communications.
Internal, some external too. We did, one of them ran an app, so I did their launch ad for their app. And so, it was just a mix of all that.
I am smiling because I'm realizing that, like, it is funny when you think of corporate video,
right?
That, of course, there's companies that have their own internal corporate video department. And that's still, I will always argue in favor of work like that, because, if you only work on, like, things you love,
right,
that's not very good training.
I agree. And also, I feel like something that has taken me has taken me years to realize is all of the things I've done outside of film, I think, is what informs the creative choices I make in it. It's, if I was, I think, more insular and I think more tunnel focused, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is that if I was just surrounded by film 24/7, I don't think I would be able to bring anything new or my take on anything new to film and filmmaking. And it's really those experiences, like during COVID when I was working corporate jobs, like that, learning how people in an office communicate, and how interesting that can be, and how weird it is compared to being on a set and all of that stuff. It was just, I've taken that into projects I've done since. And the one big benefit I will say is as an employee at one of these mortgage companies, I got a lot of employee discounts on a mortgage. And so I was able to buy my own condo when I was 21, I think.
I'm giving Caleb a golf clap.
Which is very lucky. Again,
no, that's huge.
2021, I think, is when the market started to really kind of take off and go crazy. And so I got in, tried to get the keys as soon as I could. And so now I live with my fiance in East LA, and we've had that place for a few years now. And
Right. So you got a starter home,
got a
which
little
is
starter.
awesome.
Yeah, just trying to, keep it
Townhouse
over.
kind of thing.
Yeah, just trying to keep it over our heads, I think, has been like the strategy the past few years. But yeah, it was something where I remember at the time, when things started to open up and I got vaccinated and I was going back on set, I was so ready to talk to all my fellow filmmakers about financial literacy and how to start saving and what kind of loans you could look at. And the amount of just like blank stares and just like, yeah, dude, right. Like I was like,
Oh man,
what,
I'm about to
baby?
throw some shade at myself because I was, a lot in my time in the early. Everyone just sat around going, "I'll just make a ton of money someday and buy a big house." That's literally the sophistication of most people aspiring to be in film. Is I'll just wait till I have more.
Yeah,
and you did the perfect thing, which is get in early so that down the road, as you get more successful, you're already in.
Exactly. And I feel like it was already, I was like, I'm never going to, please, I'm never going to work at a mortgage company again. Let me take this while I have it. Like, I'll just take advantage of these benefits. And so I did. And yeah, definitely something I'm grateful for. And yeah. And so then, since then, so yeah, we live in East LA. I got a job working here, actually not too far from here, in North Hollywood off Burbank Boulevard. As a director at an ad agency called First Media, who I still routinely work with, but I was a full-time director with them for 3 years.
Right, so at that point, directing, not cinematography, but directing.
Exactly. And I remember in that interview, I thought, there's no way I don't really have any directing experience. I've directed, maybe a music video here or a short film there. I don't think they would want me.
Right, yeah. So after Saddleback...
Yeah.
You were so focused on the cinematography career that you weren't writing stuff and not a lot of that.
Not really.
So, but if a friend had a band or someone, hey, can you shoot our music video? You do that, and then the cinematographer always becomes director.
100%. Yes,
Gotcha.
100%. And also just connecting with so many other filmmakers at that time. I think post high school, in that period where I was going to Saddleback, I was just connecting with so many other directors and I was really trying to network as much as I could because I figured, why not establish as many connections outside of the other group of people who I've worked with all my life. And so I remember establishing a lot of connections with kids from Chapman University. That was the closest school to where I lived that had a really big film program. And so I worked with a lot of those guys and I'm still friends and work with a lot of those guys. And that more cinematography, more just focusing on that. Did documentary here, music video there, stuff where I really didn't have to write. I would not consider myself a writer. So then got into directing at First Media and did that for 3 years. And it wasn't until maybe 4 or 5 months ago that I've gone full-time, just freelance cinematography. And I'm just supporting myself doing that as of right now. Fingers crossed, But
at First Media, which sounds familiar, but you were directing and it was ads and corporate stuff and things.
Yes.
But that sounds like it was a fantastic experience.
Totally. It was again, like when I applied, I didn't have any directing experience, and I didn't think that they would hire me because of that. But at that point, I just had a portfolio of stuff, and I'd worked at an ad agency before, and also from working at a mortgage company and working in corporate, I understood a lot of marketing, funnels and lingo and stuff, and so they brought me on, so that was a different beast altogether, I would say. I went from the previous ad agency, very big shoots, relatively, where we're traveling to Sacramento with a crew of 12 people and I have a genie team and I have an assist, first AC and second AC. To First Media was very scrappy. It was very, and this is, I think, just the change that happened over the few, the intervening years, which was the focus on social media and social media advertising and how that's so different. And that really changed my perspective, I think, in terms of, I was somebody who had been trained in the schools and classes I'd taken all taught me, how to shoot with single cam, how to light, how to frame, and how to do it very intentionally, and how to get, let's say, I don't know, 14 to 16 shots in 12 hours, something like that. Where moving to this, it was how to get, 20, 24 shots in 8 hours, in less time, and how to work quicker, and how to shoot on iPhone, which I think a lot of people would kind of turn their nose up at. But I think
And did you have to learn? Cinematography is very different at vertical than landscape, right?
Framing is, compositionally, it's a totally different beast. Especially headroom. Headroom is such a challenge, I think, when I see vertical content or vertical films or what have you. It's always, I feel like I can always discern like the amount of headroom somebody's giving can tell like how comfortable I think they are in the medium, and how recent it's been that they've departed from horizontal or traditionally framed media. And so did that and I'm still kind of doing that for the last 3.5 years. And working with actors, I think, was the big thing. That was a huge departure from my life previous as a cinematographer. And it's something it's so obvious, but I think every cinematographer should be comfortable around actors, because you're going to spend so much time around them. Like, if you're operating yourself, you are the first person they're seeing for a close-up. You're the first person they're seeing if you're in there on a wide lens on a medium. They're looking past the viewfinder right at you. And so I definitely think I was less comfortable with actors before. Very much like, okay, I'm just going to let them do their thing. I'm going to go, I'm not going to bother them. I'm not going to. And then in terms of directing, shooting multiple ads a week for 3 years, I ended up working with, well over 100, 150 actors maybe over that period of time, to the point where I feel very comfortable. And the amount of self-tapes I've seen and, trying to discern,
right, because as a director now you're casting too,
which was very lucky. We had a casting director who worked with us, and so we would go to her with selects and kind of, this is what I'm looking for. This is the persona I want to fill. Can you help me pull people? And I would do callbacks with actors. So I would look, at a list of actors. She ran our own internal database of self-tapes. And so I would look at self-tapes, for shoots coming up, and, try and get my top few actors into callbacks and do Zoom calls with them and ask them questions, kind of get a feel for who they are. Because I think self-tapes can be very, as I'm sure any actor knows, self-tapes can be a very different beast altogether, where you're watching someone in their own house, in their own space, very comfortable, filming themselves, to now when you get them on set, how are they going to bring that same level of comfort? Are they going to be able to perform in that same level? And I think in Zoom calls, when you are catching someone off guard, by introducing it's the first time they've ever met you, and kind of prepping them with questions, sometimes maybe not prepping them with questions, so that they, you get an idea of how well can someone improvise or ad-lib. That was such a valuable experience, understanding actors. And that is where I met Isaiah, who was the lead actor in Lonesome Town. He was an actor I cast for a meat ad. He was eating steaks on camera. And I just remember thinking, and after talking with him and everything, this guy's just so effortlessly cool. His self-tape was great. And then getting on a call with him, he was so relaxed and put everyone at ease. And then getting on set, like, he was someone who knew how to ad-lib, unprompted, and just had that confidence that I was looking for on camera. But also, I think a little bit of vulnerability, like kind of, I was looking for someone, Clint Eastwood type, like John Wayne type, someone who can be very, I hate to say machismo, but like somebody who's very,
cowboy-esque.
Yeah, cowboy-esque, but has a layer of kind of insecurity, I think, which is what I was looking for. And
can certainly show depths of emotion.
100%.
Because you had your story in mind.
Yeah, 100%.
And honestly, I assume you learned, I'm going to put words in your mouth, or you can tell me if I'm right or not, which is one learns very early on that whether it's self-tapes or auditions or whatever, when you see someone on screen, it's different.
It is different.
Like, and Isaiah, Howard, on screen, some people's faces just leap off that screen and you know what they're thinking and feeling, and there's the audience, there's a charisma, there's something there's something untangible that we respond to.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with reality.
100%. And I had looked at other options. Like in the casting process, had looked at other self-tapes, had gotten other Zoom calls. And I think, and I'm not meaning to generalize actors, I love actors, but there are so many people who you can tell they're LA actors. Like they're LA actors and they just carry a certain, I don't know, it's like not a persona or something with them, but they carry a shield. They carry like something that's thin and that is just a layer between you and them that I think takes a while to break down. And I've worked with actors over, my time at First Media and other things where I've reused people and worked with them several times. Where it's like you see that start to dissipate and you're like, okay, this is who the real, this person is. Like you sit down, you have lunch with them a number of times. Like, okay, the first time we met, this was a very different relationship. And so he was just someone who I just felt from the get didn't have that up. He really wasn't putting up a shield. He wasn't fronting anything, and was very authentic, I thought, from the beginning. And so that was another thing is, he had that look that just kind of jumps off the screen, and also that authenticity of like he wasn't playing anything close to the chest. Like all his cards were out, and that was something I loved working with him on because he was so collaborative. As someone who hadn't directed that many things outside of commercials and advertisements, he was someone who brought a lot of tools to it, and had the patience, I think, to take a note and sit with it for a little bit, and then you could then see the immediate change in that note. So it was like it wasn't rounds of repetition; it was a consideration, and that was something I appreciated so much because, in all honesty, it gave me time as someone who was shooting their own film to, okay, he's taking that note, he's walking away, he's mulling it over. Okay, now I can move this light over here and I can, reframe, we can swap lenses real quick. So yeah, it was something I appreciated immensely from working with Isaiah. And he's just a good guy, like just outside of film, he's a nice guy. So yeah, good experience.
And there's always value to that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and it sounds like, wow, so you really did learn almost every aspect of filmmaking from all that experience. Not every aspect, but especially all the onset aspects.
Right.
I'm not sure how, but I imagine that First Media, once you were directing, now all of a sudden you're more involved in post than when you were a cinematographer.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I had taken that from working my job in Pasadena as well, where it was, we would do a documentary, and I worked with a great director there who I did most of my projects with him, who is such a emotional and sensitive guy. And he could sit down across from somebody whose, son had passed away and just immediately empathize on like a level where it was frankly shocking. Like he was a younger guy. He just like was so caring of people's emotions and so tender that it was great, because then we'd get into the editing suite and these people, you could find moments of sincerity and pick them out. And he and I would, keep notes, and we worked with another, some more production people, but we would keep notes of interviews. And so I helped, in the editing bays, working with our editors. Like, I remember that they had this very genuine, heartfelt moment here. Can we pull that? Or the eye line here, just finding moments where it was like authenticity, which is something I think from working at First Media and working in social media ads and working with so many actors, is something that is so central, I think, to a great performance, at least from what I can tell, as someone who's very new into directing and would not, very amateur director, because that authenticity, it's like, it's hard to pull it from someone just by requesting it on set. It's something where it's like, you build that, I think, through a relationship. And that's something that, like, spending a lot more time with people is the huge advantage, you know, as a director.
I think the worst insult you can pay an actor is if you say, "We can tell you're acting."
Yeah, no,
right?
100%,
Like
100%.
that kills things.
Oh,
That
100%.
kills it. And that is what amazes. Yeah, and then there's there's those actors who they're always kind of have the same vibe, and then there's a Meryl Streep who somehow manages to make me forget that I'm looking at Meryl Streep. And she's a different human being, and like that authenticity is amazing, and that's the key to all acting.
It's so crazy. I watch it all the time, and I it's just like there are actors who are just so sensitive and empathetic and can understand. I have sometimes I struggle sometimes understanding humans who are right in front of me. These actors can read a page and empathize with a person who doesn't, exist yet, who doesn't have a shape or a form yet, and they can empathize and then bring that authenticity to their performance. And it's so astounding. As someone who, has come up as a cinematographer, that is like the most impressive thing, I think, to me, being on a set, is seeing great acting and having like an upfront seat. Like, you are, as a DP, usually you are front of house. You're watching them like up front, and it's awesome. It's great. That's why I love film, I think. But yeah,
for sure. I was going to bring something up, but I'm going to actually shift back to so you'd worked with Isaiah and this and that, but so what inspired Lonesome Town? What was that? I'm going to guess, was it strike related? Was it during a slowdown?
100%. I mean, yes, 100%. It was during a period where I think. And this is another thing, I think, to my point earlier of when you're so insular in film, like so much of your relationships to people become tied to that. And I think when you have slowdown periods where it's like, whoa, I haven't seen this guy who I've spent hundreds or thousands of hours with. I haven't seen him in a few months because we're not working together. There's not a gig. And it just changes. I think it shifts, like, not priority, but it shifts, the value of like how you value relationships or where you value relationships. And so that is definitely a period of time where I was like, okay, I need to find out who I am outside of a cinematographer and like who I am beyond my identity as just a filmmaker. And it was, during a period where I was feeling lonely, and I love that song. I think my sister put it on a playlist years ago, and I'd heard it, and it always like made me think of the West. And
and it's the specific cover of Lonesome Town.
The Ricky Nelson version, the original version. And I found out later, I think it is in a Quentin Tarantino movie as well. But loved the song by Ricky Nelson, and really wanted to make something with it, but I didn't want to make like a music video with the original song. So I went to Claudia Che, who is a friend of mine who's a musician, and I'm lucky enough that from doing a lot of music videos and stuff in the past, I know a lot of great musicians, and so reached out to her and asked her to cover the song. So me and a friend of mine, Brian, who mixed and mastered it, got into like a little studio booth, and we recorded her cover, and it was weird being in like a music studio setting. Asking like, oh, I don't know how to articulate this, but can you give the guitar a little more twang, or can you like do this with your voice? And she was so receptive, and Brian was so helpful, that we knocked that out. That was the first thing we did in the whole process, was finish the song. So then all the pre-production, I was listening to her cover, when I was finishing out the storyboards and
her voice is wonderful.
Yeah, she's great.
It's a wonderful version. I assumed you found the version, but no, you created that version.
Right. I worked with Claudia and Brian, and Brian's he composes and scores, so he was able to kind of transpose it. Claudia was able to play the tabs and sing it, and they just were so, I think, receptive to. I was looking for something very lo-fi, something like the Moon song from Her, if you've ever heard that. It's like a very like lo-fi, I don't know, it's just a small song. It's very small, but I think conveys something.
But there's an authenticity to it.
Right, right.
There really is.
Yeah. So started with the song and then moved into.
And let me ask a legal question, or
Yeah.
so that means you have the rights to that version, and you guys just have to pay like ASCAP or whatever. Because when you cover a song,
Right.
like the recording is now, like I know I actually think you are in much better shape than the average filmmaker who grabs an existing song, because I know it's not a public domain song, it's not
Right.
old enough.
No.
But the cover is, I think it's easier.
I think so.
You're laughing at yourself right now, looking at me.
I don't know exactly all the
Right, so
legal
you haven't.
I am not illegal. Please don't sue me, Ricky Nelson.
No. They can't. But
Yeah.
but if you commercialize it,
Right.
I think it's not the same royalties if you use the original.
Totally. And I don't know if I have any plans on commercializing it, but yeah, definitely something.
Yeah, you didn't
have to look into.
you didn't have commercial, but it would be rad to be able to share it.
Right, yeah.
Because needless to say, if one even throws on Vimeo or YouTube something with copyrighted music, it tends to get pulled down.
Yeah.
And or you get a horrible letter from.
Right. So I hadn't even considered that. I was just like, I wanted a small lo-fi version of this song. It didn't exist, and I was like, I knew. Yeah, it's a reach out to Claudia and Brian.
I love the vision.
Yeah, and then meeting Isaiah was another kind of piece in that puzzle.
So wait, did you have the story for the song in mind too? The vision, because obviously as a cinematographer, but it's a very visual story.
Yeah, that's what I had. Is I just had a string of visuals. I had just basically I have a little storyboard book that I had done a couple sketches in, and kind of had this idea of a guy kind of floating aimlessly, which is how I felt. And I was like, okay, where to take this? And then it wasn't until I was meeting with two of my close collaborators on this, Vasily and Jack, who helped with kind of post, and Jack was the production designer and helped with wardrobe. It wasn't until we were meeting at my house that Jack made me aware of another movie, which we watched some parts of. It's, oh gosh, I wish I could remember the name right now. It's Robert Downey Sr. directed a movie about a Civil War vet coming to New York in the 60s. And so it's like him as a man out of time, and how he kind of reacts to the city and stuff. And so that was another point of reference of, okay, this is, how would someone from that long ago react to the modernity of living in LA today? And there was a bunch of drafts. There was one that was a lot more focused on him becoming like crazy and unhoused and stuff that was a lot more, I think, gratuitously negative and pessimistic. But the final version and what we ended up landing on was somebody who reconnects with their roots after being in the city. And that's kind of, for anybody who's seen it or is going to watch it, it's that final moment when he's looking at the billboard, and it's, in a city that's so big that I think so many people are drawn to, seeing his home, like the place he comes from, sold as a dream or sold as like this commercial thing, is something that kind of it regrounds him and reattaches him to like, okay, there is a life to be had, kind of back where your roots are and where you started. But made the movie, I guess.
And you shot it one night?
We shot...
Or 2 nights?
We shot... Yeah, I think it was... I'm trying to think. It was 2 days and then a pickup. We did the fireside stuff. That was actually in a warehouse in Crenshaw that our production designers had a connection to. So it was a car garage, kind of like huge car garage warehouse thing. And the owner was nice enough to like pull all his cars out. And then we built this kind of campsite in the middle of the garage. And then I just exposed for the blacks, or rather for the highlights, to bring everything black. And then, shot him in this place.
I'm amazed.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe that wasn't out in the desert. So I thought you would have driven out to the desert and shot.
Right. And it was just, that was mostly like I mean, as any filmmaker knows, money is the big, that's always the big thing. And I was self-funding this, and I was like, oof, I don't know if I can bring the whole crew out there and do an overnight shoot and all this. And so I was like, I think maybe we could figure this out, like, some way, like through compositing. And so we ended up doing, and there's a shot, we go from a wide to this extreme, or from a medium on him to an extreme wide, and that is a composited shot. So I had shot a wide that included his feet when we were in the warehouse and a little bit of the set. And I am not a VFX artist, first and foremost, but I composited him into a shot that we got during our pickup day of the hills out near like Chatsworth, like out in like the more deserty area. And and then graded it down, made it feel like night, did some sky replacement, and that's kind of the one attachment you get between the cowboy and the world around him. So
bravo.
Yeah.
Really well done, because it's seamless.
Yeah.
And I certainly bought it.
Yeah. It's all just, how could we do this on the cheap? Like,
and then, okay, so now here comes, I promised you I was going to mention something, because I brought, what I call your nebula.
Yeah, totally.
There's like a purple, when he's transitioning time, I think that we don't have to worry about spoilers, right?
Yeah, no.
Like there's this amazing shot that I just absolutely love, where he's walking, but you actually change his orientation. It's like he's walking on, like out in space on a nebula.
Yeah. And that was an interesting process that we had to shoot before the production day. So that was me, and I'll shout him out again because he was so helpful, and he's such an artistic and creative guy. But Jack Masura, who was the production designer, we were looking at old references. We were looking at Flash Gordon, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. They used to do back in the day this wonderful cloud tank stuff for the skies. And they would replace the skies with these cloud tanks of milk and oil and water. And so we looked at that, and we're trying to figure out how to recreate that on a shoestring budget, and it was not feasible. So what we did was we looked at there's another form of oil and water art that I think comes from Japan. And there was this artist who was doing it, and he would kind of mix it live, like these oils and waters, and play it through an old school projector. So he would be DJing and also mixing oil and water. So we were looking at some of his references, and we figured, okay, maybe we could do something like that. It's a lot cheaper. We don't need a huge tank. We don't need a big green screen. And so I borrowed my sister's old animating, like backlit LED panel, and we shot through 2 clear glass plates, and we put oil and water, soap and milk in kind of between both of these plates, and then shifted it around with different colors. And so that's what you see in the film. That's the nebula. It's just oil mixing with water, shot in high speed, and kind of like I'm moving the plates, adding more oil, adding a little bit of soap. Things are dissipating.
Right, and wow, how dated am I? And you have it overcranked so that it has a slow, ethereal quality.
Yeah.
All right, so when I mentioned Lonesome Town, and now I'm completely inaccurate, but not because I'm covered, but when our festival jury is having a debate about the use of AI, I say, hey, look, there was this beautifully shot indie film where there was a cowboy walking on this purple-pink nebula. And you know what? I don't know if they used After Effects. I don't know if they used AI. I don't know if it was practical. But whatever they used. And if it was AI, it didn't compromise the film. Right. It's not like it was an AI actor. It wasn't like it was an AI this. But you just showed me that it's not an example. But my defense of indie filmmakers using AI to create a visual effect is very different than people using AI to try to replace actual
100%.
Because it's not like if you couldn't do what you did, but you were able to do what you did with your skill set.
Right. I'm not the biggest fan of AI, just in general.
Me either. I just don't like saying that all forms of it must be banned.
Totally. that was the thing, is like, I feel like when you have so little, like when you don't have that much money and you really don't have that many resources, I feel like that's when you kind of discover things through research and through talking to other people that are amazing. Like we looked at other options. We wanted to do the Doug Turnbull way of doing a cloud tank. It just didn't fit in the budget. So, I think there's so much, because gosh, we are so lucky today that we live in an era post digital democratization of cameras where you have a great camera in your pocket at all times. You have something you can shoot with all times. Why not then expand your knowledge into stuff that they've done in the past? Because now we can not improve upon it, but we can use those tools on the cheap end. Like, I'm sure they're not making nebulas like the one we made on any big budget movies, but
they could.
they could. But I know they were doing it, back in the 60s. They were doing it in San Francisco. The San Francisco Art Institute was another place where we were looking at a lot of references where people would use these in their shorts that were very much more out there than ours. But they would use this same technique. So I figured why, this still works. I think it still looks cool. Like, why not use it? And we did use After Effects. We had to composite things. We had to composite him onto the nebula, and then a little bit of color grading. But that's what I'm saying is, like, with the tools we have today, we can take what they did and refine it and make it a different thing. And I just feel like, not to disparage AI entirely, but I think it's just, you have to do a little bit of research. And I know budget is such a big thing for people, but I don't know.
Well, in your case, you did something outstanding.
Thank you.
and creative and practical. But yeah, that's just me.
No, I get you.
And amusingly, maybe I shouldn't say this, but we've let very few things go through. There was a submission, and I looked at it, I'm like, wow, that's really freaking cool. And it used a lot of AI, and then I don't think it made the cut.
Yeah.
But I told the filmmaker, look, we understand, it could be another form of VFX.
Totally.
Because we certainly don't expect an indie filmmaker to be like, well, if I can't hire ILM,
right,
I guess I can't make my film. It's like, no, go ahead. By the way, I have zero experience with AI. I haven't even looked at it. I haven't even used a chat bot.
Yeah.
I guess I may have used a chat bot when I'm trying to get information from a website.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just go on a website and I'm like, I want to talk to my bank, and I have to get through a bot first. I just have to keep typing person,
human,
person.
Please.
Yeah. But here I am. I don't want to sound like a defender of it. I just want to be open to. So someone's going to do something beautiful with it someday that 100%. Is creative.
And I agree. I feel like for me, it's a touchy subject right now because there's so little regulation on it. I feel like once we are in a period where it's like, maybe
and its sources are stolen.
Yeah.
Whereas,
and we feel safer about it not taking our jobs. Like, once I feel more secure about that, I feel like, have a whole branch of film that's just AI, how is it going to affect me? But I don't know.
And I actually believe didn't Adobe do something kind of cool where they have something where nothing is stolen. All the sources are paid or
that's
royal.
Cool.
They have a, but I'm sure that there's nerds. Oh, that's rude. I'm sure there's people who would tell me, but when you try to use their tools, you don't get as good shit as you get using, Anthropic's thing. And I'm like, but Anthropic's thing is stealing.
Yeah.
This one, everyone is given permission.
Yeah.
Which is different.
And it must be because Adobe already has a huge library of stock footage, that they've already licensed and stuff that they can just pull from.
Yeah.
But I think, and to the other point and the other side of that coin, I think is when you're trying to make a film for no money, there's compromises somewhere. You have to compromise somewhere. And a lot of the times that compromise then is in time. It's how long is something going to take to make? Because if you can't pay someone to do it, then you have to learn to do it. And then if you have to learn it, And so with Lonesome Town, that was something where it was a big learning experience for me because the only shot I could afford to hire a VFX artist for was the billboard shot at the end. That was the only one I was shopping around. We just were kind of tapped out for money that I'd set aside for this. So all the other things, anything else in there that's VFX, I had to kind of painstakingly look at YouTube videos and learn and just take myself to school a little bit. And it took, longer than a not even 3-minute film should take. But I think that's the sacrifice is, if you want something fast, you got to spend the money. And if you want something cheap, you got to take longer on it if you want it to be good. And,
fast, cheap, good. You can choose 2 of the 3.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like something where I was like, I can't afford all that, so I will learn how to do more compositing and get more in the weeds on this. And so that's everything in there. Apart from that billboard shot, I composited. And I'm not a VFX artist. I had to edit it because I couldn't hire an editor. I had to color it because I couldn't afford a colorist. It's just, and it just becomes a thing where it's like, if you want a film made and you can't afford it, you got to kind of you got to put on more hats.
You do.
Hats start to pile on.
You do.
And take more time, obviously. But yeah, so I don't know.
And you took your time, and the billboard shot's key.
It's great. It's one of my favorite shots of the movie, and he was incredible to work with, and so helpful. So yeah.
I mean, the movie's all good shots.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
I still think my favorite is the one, I think, when you just like ran up to some building or something and you shot when the one looking down on the bus stop.
Yes.
I find that to be so powerful with just seeing the cowboy in that environment. And I think you even have an unplanned, unhoused extra.
Yes. I mean, that was shooting in that area. It was an area, out of the downtown area, that's an area I think a lot of people are familiar with. It's right by Garrett Central Market. And it was an area where I'd been to a number of times. I figured we were close enough to the subway. I knew I could get up on that roof or parking structure. And so it kind of had everything we need. So we shot in a very small area of downtown and then did pickups, in a couple different areas. But yeah, I think that shot, specifically the one you're referring to, was supposed to be the kind of him feeling small in a city so big. And I originally would have loved it to be even higher, like just shoot off the highest building.
Drone that went up to the sky.
Yeah. Just to make it feel so minuscule. But again, like whatever we could get permission for, so through the camera, leaned all the way over, handheld the camera and just leaned over that parking structure for that shot. And I feel like that hopefully conveys that feeling of he's small in this grand space.
Yeah, absolutely does. And it makes it, and it adds authenticity to the whole thing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Excellent. So it was a long process, it sounds like, because you were doing a lot of problem solving for yourself.
Yeah, and I think it was just something where it went through so many iterations. It went through so many passes in post.
So in the edit, you kept discovering new ways to tell the story?
Totally. And it was just like, and I think this can happen just with any film, but it's like you edit, like, especially if you're editing yourself, which I don't recommend. I definitely, if you can get a great editor because they can tell you where to cut. It was just, I was too close to it that I was fiddling with it, just fiddling. This one keyframe is off. This one thing is off, where I'd go back and, I think we ended up going through 7 passes over 5 months. So too long for a film that short. But between work and other things, I was just like, all right, I gotta do this when I can. And leaving it, coming back to it and being like, okay, I'm coming at it detached now. I'm not as close to the production of it.
It is always better to take a break.
Yeah.
And it is, I feel badly for your generation in a way because the tools are so great.
Yeah.
And digital editing is so perfect or whatever that, when you had to physically cut film, sometimes you just had to accept your work was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you could actually have kept this sucker on your hard drive for 5 years of adjusting frames.
Yeah.
Like, I can make it a little better.
Yeah.
Like when do you draw the line? And
100%.
you just have to make yourself do it.
Yeah. It was very much convincing myself, all right, just quit it. Like this is, so I made this so that somebody would see it, hopefully. So then finished it. And then, started submitting it. And then Film Invasion, was, played it, and it was awesome.
We did, but I don't think We didn't premiere it, did we?
No, it played
see,
at a couple other festivals.
Because I would assume you look the quality it is, and it's funny. I was thinking it was 5 minutes, but it's like 3. You said
it's short.
So I mean, so being that length, that's like, man, for programmers, that's like that's like candy. It's like something that looks fantastic, and it's done in 3 minutes.
Right.
Like that's a lot of people focus on that.
Yeah, and it's played at a handful of other festivals. We are playing at the Yucca Film Festival, or the Yucca Film Festival, early November.
Which is awesome. The funny thing out in Yucca, California, which is funny because I'm sure they're like, hey, it's got a desert theme like us, and like your campfire was in a warehouse.
Tell the truth, like we'd imagine
the film looks like it belongs in the desert.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, all those desert festivals should be embracing it.
No, totally. So it's gone to a couple festivals. Definitely, and this is not just because I'm here. It's not just going to be Film Invasion so far has been our favorite. And I went with some members of the crew. I went with my producer Elise, and I think it was just like the fact that it was programmed with other great films. That's what I think every filmmaker is looking for. I've been to so many festivals where it's just a hodgepodge. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just all one kind of stream of consciousness, film festival. But this was very targeted, and I felt like, okay, I can see the ties to other films that we're playing with, and it was great. I really enjoyed it. And so far, yes, in terms of the films we played at with Lonesome Town, this has been my favorite festival for sure.
Excellent. It's funny. I try not to burden this little 11-year-old laptop by having a browser open while I'm recording, but part of me wants to like hit pause and like look up your block. Did I moderate your Q&As?
No.
Okay, good. It wasn't me. Because I was like, do I remember this? Because I've talked to you enough times. I was like sitting here thinking, wait, did I? No, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So that means I didn't. Yeah, but I do kind of want to look at what your program was.
Gosh, we were right next to this amazing documentary about
the rock climber?
No, it was about the black community in Seattle. Oh my gosh, in Portland.
Oh, you were with that one. Yes. Where are we going?
Yes, where are we going?
That's wonderful.
It's because Lonesome Town, I think, is so much about place. Like that is a documentary about place. It's about like where you fit in the world, and it just felt very unified and very intentional, and that's something I think for a filmmaker.
In fact, fingers crossed, Where We Going, that was like a pilot. They want to make a series based on that.
I would watch
and go from community to community. It's just amazing, right? It was wonderful.
It was great. It was great.
By the way, I'd like to brag that I saw wonderful connections between your film and that, but I think like that one was like 30 minutes and yours is 3. And when you're aiming, so sometimes it's running time. But also, I have to admit, my job as a programmer is made easier by the fact that all the films are fantastic.
Yeah.
So you really can't go. I really can't fuck up.
No.
But I can go for better themes when I have a shot.
Sure. But again, like, I mean, that I feel like I saw it in some of the other screenings, like that there was themes that were similar, and I think that's just, it's a level of care that I think a lot of festivals, especially the local smaller ones, just don't have the resources to put in probably.
But yeah, that's why our T-shirt says the festival that gives a shit.
Yeah.
Well, we have that T-shirt. It's funny. We sold out of those, and I'm like, I guess we got to print more of those. I thought like maybe 3 people would want one, and we sold them out. I'm like, oh shit! So we need to print more of those, unless it's just the standard shirt,
right? Well, because the filmmakers give a shit too. They give a shit about the festival.
It is a funny motto that like went from being a joke to being
kind of really
to being our if my French was better, our raison d'être or whatever. Our reason to exist is because we care. Yeah. And that I appreciate it. All right, when after we stop recording, I'll look up who you played with. Totally. We'll just talk about ourselves. But so did Lonesome Town give you the? So you're not done. Where you want to make some more?
Yeah, I mean,
in between cinematography gigs.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely working with a writer on a project that I hope, between gigs I can give some time to. I'm a huge fan of like classic noir. Like I love Raymond Chandler. I I've read all the Philip Marlowe books. I just love that era of films. Maltese Falcon, Double Indemnity. It's just such a uniquely LA genre that I want to do a neo-noir. I definitely couldn't do a period piece, but a neo-noir that kind of has the same feel as one of those movies. And so that's next thing I'm looking at doing is that. But mostly cinematography. I just was up in Kernville yesterday scouting for a film we're shooting in a couple weeks. So it's just, meetings and stuff wherever I can get them. And just shooting.
Right. So working full time as a DP cinematographer, operator, I guess.
Yep.
And then you've got your creative pursuits on the side, which is a great thing to do. And you don't have to worry about rents going up.
No, that is.
I don't know why I'm so happy. It is the grandpa in me that is extra happy for you that you've got a home. You it's so good. I assume we got to fix a mortgage because you were talking about financial responsibility.
Got to fix mortgage.
And I'd hate to say what I just said, and then be like, I stop recording. You go, by the way, Jeff, it's an adjustable rate. Yeah. So actually, there's this. There's something hanging over my head. Yeah, no, you're too smart for that.
Yeah, and not to get too numbery, but the rates were so good in 2020 and 2021. Like that's when it was like down to like. I think ours is 3.25 and now it's up at, 6 point something. And so we were just lucky again, but
no, you were smart to take advantage of a situation.
Right. Yeah.
That means 15, 20 years from now, the reason we're in a nice home is because we got homes when we were younger and then later in life, we're able to move laterally in a way that made sense. But once you just got to get in.
Yeah, and shout out to my fiance. I am so lucky. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. She is so supportive. We met in a film class, so she gets at least part of it. But she also was smart enough to not pick a career in film. So she's not in film. She's in a completely different industry, and so she gets to look on and. As I'm sweating bullets, when's the next job coming? She's like, oh, I don't,
Look, I have said it before. The reason the Discovery Indie Film Foundation is a nonprofit for the arts that runs 2 festivals that are both ranked in the top 100 best reviewed worldwide out of 14,000 is because I won the life partner lottery as well. And she appreciates the arts.
Yeah.
She's a real person with a real job.
Yeah. Yep.
And I joke with people. I'm like here I am. Like I was throwing shade at other festivals saying they're better capitalists than us.
Right.
But I have the luxury of being able to focus on the arts because I have a feeling the way we run the festivals, half the time I'm fucking volunteering instead of getting paid. Yeah. So it's like, I joke with people that I would live, the festivals either have to change or I'd have to live in my car.
Yeah, yeah.
But I get to live in a nice home instead because for some reason the universe gave me a wonderful life partner.
Right.
Damn.
No, I get
you. So congrats to you.
Yes, thank you.
It's actually, that is cruel advice, right? No. Don't marry someone in the industry.
Ooh, no, just...
But it's true. The funny thing is before, whatever, I used to joke, I used to want to be a high school teacher when I was younger.
Right.
And of all things, my mother said, the problem is high school teachers marry other high school teachers, then you have 2 shitty incomes. And I'm like, I thought she was so wrong.
No.
She was right.
Yeah.
I was an idealistic teenager, and I'm like, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
But it is true. It is true. Like I feel...
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, nothing breaks my heart like 2 actors falling in love. I'm like,
my gosh.
Oh my God, you guys are gonna have a rough go.
Oh man.
Not to mention the egos when someone starts doing better than the other.
Right.
Oh, that's tricky too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I really couldn't imagine. But I'm lucky, like I said.
It is.
Yeah.
All we can do is have gratitude for everything.
100%. So grateful. I feel like that's something I wake up every day for. It's like, I'm just grateful to live in such a wonderful city and to be doing what we're doing. And yeah, and to have someone there to support you, it's there's nothing I couldn't ask for more. So, yeah.
All right. So is Sasha Joe a sister?
It's my sister.
Sister.
It's my sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Sasha Joe Garrett's listed as
Yes,
a
she's one of the
producer.
producers.
So I thought I'd give a shout out.
100%. My sister's great. She's actually
Elise Runkle also deserves a shout out.
Yes, Elise was huge. My sister was huge on this. Yeah, because I was wearing so many hats, it was like I needed someone to I needed two people really to kind of sort out the madness, and so that is what they were both able to do for the film, and from locations to actually paying the crew and figuring out what the post pipeline would look like. They indispensable, like both of them. And yeah, my sister's such a creative as well. She works in animation. I don't know if I can say what studio. She works at a nice big studio that's on the west side. Yeah, so she works there, and so she has the same appreciation that I have for the arts and for film and for animation.
You know what? And that's the perfect stopping, because that brings it all around. That completes the circle, because you started when you got that camera for your birthday, and you pulled in your siblings to work on the stuff.
Yes.
And here you worked with a sibling on Lonesome Town.
100%.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Social media, website. Are you about those things?
Yes. I've got both. My Instagram is at CMG Cine. And then my website is calebgarrettfilm.com. And that's
Excellent.
where all my things are. So
Excellent.
yeah.
And I think I had that already, but all good. And those will be clickable links in the show notes. And now I will get us to the conclusion, which is, well, first, thank you, Caleb.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful convo. I really enjoyed it. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Like, subscribe, write a review, be kind. Kindness, there's a secret thing about kindness, which is when you are kind to people, it actually helps you more than them. So I recommend everyone be a selfish motherfucker and be kind to everyone you meet all the time. There we go. That's my little soapbox moment. All right, so if you want to learn more about this podcast, go to discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFwins. I always add that I quit social media earlier this year, and it has been wonderful for me. So if you write to the podcast through at DIFwins, my wonderful podcast producer, Karina, will be responding, because, boy, since I quit social media, I quit it for not this reason. I've read a bunch of books. That was an accident. Yeah, I quit social media. 4 days later, of course, I'm in bed next to someone on their phone. And I look over at my nightstand, and there's a book a friend gave me like years ago. And so I've read like 4 books in the 9 months since I quit social media. So enjoy your social media, but maybe add books to your life. It really helps. So anyway, that's another soapbox. So that's discoverindiefilm.com again. If you go to discoverindiefilm.org, that is the foundation that's a nonprofit that runs those 2 film festivals that I talked about. Sherman Oaks Film Festival that we hold every December. Film Invasion Los Angeles that Caleb was at. And they're both worth checking out. I could name their websites and social media, but the truth is they're both on discoverindiefilm.org. So you can just go to the nonprofit first. And I call them sister festivals, and I didn't, but I do, because they're actually getting a cousin next year. Film Invasion Lima in Lima, Peru is in January 2026. So buy a ticket. Go. It's January 16th and 17th down in Lima, and it's kind of exciting. It's very fun. All right. Caleb, thank you again.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you, everyone, for listening.